Just give me a minute. We're good, Dan.
Okay, I call to order the meeting of the Board of Fire Commissioners of the North Greenbush Fire District Number 1. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moment of silence in memory of the deceased members of the fire district. Roll call.
Dan,
Here.
Rich,
Here.
Dave. Did we lose Dave?
Dave got on mute.
We see his pretty face.
I got him, yeah.
My
Okay.
buttons didn't work there.
And Nick,
Here.
thank you. Brian's running late.
Okay. No, Brian won't be in attendance.
Okay,
He,
thank you, Dan.
He got called to work down in the city. All right. Public session will be at the end of the meeting. Fire District Committee for WFD upgrade. Rich, Dave, or Joe? Related to the upgrade?
We don't have anything yet. We're still trying to figure out when we're going to be able to meet up and start to go through things. Hopefully in another month at the most, I hope.
All right.
Yeah, I have nothing. I was over there a week or so ago when I walked around a little bit, but I didn't see anything that jumped out at me that needed repair or immediate attention.
Okay. DFD President's Report. We don't have anybody on.
Eric Denny is coming. Eric Denny's coming on, Dan, and Tiffany DeZembo is on for Wine Skill.
Okay, we'll go on to Wine and Skills Report. Welcome, Tiffany.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm here on behalf of President Lackey. We met this month in person, which was great because we didn't meet in person last month. And special thanks to the district for helping us with the Zoom account. That has been great for our department. We offered an in-person and an online option, and we had about 10 people join on Zoom, so that was great. We also were able to utilize some of our new laptops that we just purchased. So shout out to Dave Young and Eclipse for helping us get those. I think we're still waiting for one to come in the mail, but thanks to Dave and his help, we were able to get our members a pretty good deal on that. I'm not sure if DeFreeseville is going to report on this, but the banquet committees have been working together on what they're going to do for next year. It looks like the banquet might be the first week of March next year. And we also, I'm sure you saw on our Facebook page, we also handed out some of this year's banquet awards at that meeting. So it was kind of nice to see members get recognized for their long-term commitment to the department and of course the district. I don't know if there's any other questions I can answer on behalf of Wine and Skill while I'm here.
Does anybody have anything for Tiffany? Tiffany, thank you for coming. It's, although it's not, just give you a little history, although it's not obviously mandatory for the president of either fire company to come. We started this tradition probably about 10 years ago. where we added the president to the agenda. John Hanlon, when he was president, probably more than 10 years ago, because it was way before the merger, would come and he would often wait until public session. And we didn't feel like we wanted to make him wait around that long. So we added the president to the agenda and we purposely put it up front towards the beginning. So you would have the option, if you wanted to jet, you could jet. But if you want to stay, you're certainly welcome to stay. So thank you very much for coming.
Yes, no problem. I watched the meetings online and I said to President Lackey last month, we've got to make sure somebody's there every month to give a report on our behalf, regardless who it is. So thank you for the opportunity.
Great. Well, we like having you. Thank you. We will get to DFD when Eric Denny comes on. Approval of the prior month's minutes. Any corrections, additions, or deletions?
I didn't see any, Dan. I read them over when Bob posted them. I'd make a motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Made by Nick. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. As we pass motions, especially kind of the bread and butter ones, if you're on mute and you don't want to bother unmuting and everything, just to say aye, just raise your hand, and Bob and Sean, if you can kind of keep a close eye out. I guess if you're going to object, speak up. Treasurer's report. Sean, the review of the annual report plus your regular report.
Okay, the treasurer's report for the general fund checking account as of the end of February 28th, we had a deficit balance of $47,500.57. And that was because we were waiting on the tax revenue check from the town, which we did get on the 26th, but I deposited that directly into the money market account. So we held, basically, we didn't have a negative. I didn't send out the LoSAP check until I received the tax check from the town. So anyhow, there was a reconciled balance of $47,500 in the red. Our money market account had a $2,736,667.90 balance. Of that amount, excuse me, $1,209,331 is for the general fund. $1,273,454 is capital reserve equipment, and building had a $201,682 balance, and then the repairs has a $52,199 balance in the capital reserve repairs. The subsequent pages, I have the copy of the bank reconciliation for the checking account, are the next two pages, followed by a copy of the general fund checking account bank statement, followed by a list of all of the approved checks that were cut in the month of February. And then we have the bank reconciliation for the money market account, followed by the bank statement for the money market account. I have the P&L, it's the budget to actual, just showing our expenditures for the year in comparison to the budget. And then the final two documents were the requested DFD and WFD chiefs expenditures for the year. So we're going to have that added on each month so we know where the chiefs stand with their expenditures for the year. Also, I did, as I said, I have the check from the town in the amount of $1,421,030 that was deposited on the 26th of February. So that is the treasurer's report. And then we have the annual report. Bob, is there a way that you could pull up the annual report?
Yep.
Or did, okay. I don't know if you could do that and we'll scroll through it maybe as we go along. But you should have that in your digital Dropbox. Bob had it out there, saw that. So the first two pages are just, the first page is just talking about the AUD report. Second page is a list of the various funds that we had to generate a report on, as well as supplemental information. So on page 3 is where the real accounting takes place. And this is basically our balance sheet. It's the asset section. Yep, keep going a little further. There we go. There we go. Okay, so we had a cash balance this year of $385,157. We have, excuse me, Chase securities of $5,272. We have interest owed on those securities of $534. We have capital reserves. That's the for the equipment fund, the building fund, and the repairs fund of $1,315,616. And now we used to use, you'll see in a moment here, we had another fund, a TA fund. It's a trust fund, basically. So this is, you can see on this report, it's the A general fund, the A fund. Well, there was a TA fund, which is a trust fund for the LoSAP. Well, there's this new governmental accounting standard 84, and basically what they want us to do is not, how do I want to be delicate about saying this? They don't want us to hide this money we have set aside for LoSAP and the debt that we owe for LoSAP to these firefighters for their services. So you can see that's a new item of $2,185,519. That's based upon the actuarial report provided by VFIS. So that's how much we have in plan assets. And just as a side note, I don't know if you remember, it was about 10 years ago, we were at 65% funded using an older actuarial life expectancy table. And now we're using a more modern life expectancy table because people are expected to live longer, and we're at 77% funded as of the end of the year. So we've, come up more than 10% on our funding for the LoSAP. So we're making good strides in that direction. All right, I'm on to page 4. We had some accounts payable and accrued liabilities. The two of them combined totaled to be about $85,000. They're just basically our normal bills that we get in January and February, but they were for last period. Then we have a capital reserve balance of $1,315,616, and then we have that restricted. That's the money that is vested in the plan with VFIS for $2,185,519. Then we have this assigned unappropriated fund balance. So this is, Bob will probably be giving you a little presentation about this coming up shortly. But these were the purchases that we set money aside from last year's budget that we're going to end up paying for this year, like the Chiefs cars. There's a number of items, and we'll be going through that shortly. So in the end, we have this unassigned fund balance of $41,992 that we're going to have to decide what to do with when I'm done here. Okay, so we're going to keep that in mind on page 4, that almost $42,000 unassigned fund balance. We got to transfer that. Traditionally, we transferred it to a capital reserve account, or sometimes we used it for LoSAP. Sometimes we did a little of both. Okay. All right, moving on to page 5. Page 5 is the first part of the income statement. Basically, it's showing us all the money that came in, basically. So we had the tax money coming in for the property taxes. We had interest that we earned. Bob did a great job selling some equipment, so we have $2,025 there. We had some insurance recoveries of $8,692. We invested $182,699 into the LoSAP program. And then there was $3,722. That was the balance that was left over in the bond fund, but we closed out that fund. So we transferred the funds into the general fund, and we used that to pay part of our interest in March of last year. Okay. So in total, we had over $1 million worth of, let's say, income coming in. I'm on page 6. Here's all our expenditures broken down. Fire and professional services. Basically, that's Bobby and me and Bonnie and J.O. Okay. We had fire equipment of $254,748. Fire contract expenditures of $313,643. We funded our pensions
Can we
both
skip?
LoSAP programs, both
Here we
the
go. Thank you.
Penflex and the VFIS for 209,000. We had some social security, our workers' compensation, and then our life insurance. On top of that, we did pay $145,000 off on the bonds last year, and we paid $190,404 worth of interest. Total expenditures, $1,233,125. Page 7 is kind of like a reconciling account. This fund balance at the year end has to tie out to page 2 fund balance, and it does. So it's really just a reconciling. It's kind of your statement of retained earnings if you're interested in accounting. All right, I'm on page 8, and it's this 8 and 9 are really just our budget for this coming year for 2021. We have $1,421,030 of real estate tax coming in. That's what I deposited. It's reported on my treasurer's report. And some of that, most 350,000 approximately is going for employee benefits like the LoSAP, workers' compensation, Social Security, so on and so forth. The rest of it's going for all the other firematic operations we have. Okay, that was page 9. Okay, this page 10 is the bond fund. It's the capital projects fund. And we did, you can see in the column for 2019, we had $3,722. Well, we transferred that money out of this bond fund in 2020 and used it to pay for our interest. So page 10, 11, 12, 13. On page 13, you can see transfer to other funds. We transferred it out of this H fund and into the A fund. There it is. Thank you, Bob. Okay. All right. I'm on page 14. This is like the reconciling statement of retained earnings for the bond fund. So that's the last page of the capital projects bond fund. All right, 15 and 16 are basically just our long-term assets, our land, building improvements, and machinery and equipment. So we have last year's balance and this year's balances. Okay. And because the district owns those on page 16, that's showing up really as part of our fund balance, part of our equity, I guess you would state. All right, now, I told you a little while ago, I'm on 17 and 18 here. This had to do with the LoSAP program, and this GASB 84 doesn't want us to hide, I don't want to say hide, but they want it more clearly prominently presented on our financial document, which the A fund is the more pertinent reporting fund. So we shifted the money off of this TA agency 17 and 18 and onto the general fund A that we first went over. I'm almost done, sorry. 19, this represents our bonds. And currently we, as of the end of the year, we owe $5,785,000 in bonds. Okay, we just made a bond payment on March 1st, another $145,000, so that's going to be lower. And then I'm not going to bore you with the rest of the documentations, but this is just supplemental information that they want to know what our utility usage is. They want to know if we do a bank reconciliation every month. They want to know how we break down these employee benefits for LoSAP and so forth. Okay, so you can look at that at your leisure. If you have any questions, you can ask me about that later on. And that's basically the annual report. Sorry to bore you with that. It has been filed timely.
Sean, thank you. You always do a nice job with all that. Impressive.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions for Sean?
Sean, one question. Excuse me. One question I had. You mentioned the roughly $42,000 that we're going to have to do something with, I presume, later in the meeting. Just refresh my memory, or I'll give you a chance to look it up between now and the time we discuss it later in the meeting. Isn't that normally like a 6-digit figure? Or is it?
Yeah, sometimes it has been up as high as that at sometimes in the past, but with the purchase of the Chiefs vehicles, and we set aside, remember, $20,000 for putting the assets onto the new new fire apparatus that we're getting. Remember, we did that 2 months ago. So we did kind of eat into that already.
Okay, so
But
I guess,
oftentimes-
I guess the point I was trying to make is it's not that we have less money, it's just that we've already allocated some of that money that would normally.
Correct.
Okay.
And
That's the
that's
point
that 263,000 above it. That's really what we have left over.
All right, thank you.
Added to the 40, but we've already earmarked that. Yes.
Thank you. That's the point I was trying to get to.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's actually better to have an unallocated, a low unallocated balance like that. I mean, you're below 10%, which is phenomenal. So
Thank you.
it's-
Terry, do we just have to accept the report like we do his monthly report?
yeah, I would do both the resolutions, except the AUD as the treasurer's annual report as required by statute.
Okay, entertain a resolution to accept the annual financial report as presented by the treasurer. Bob, you have the wording for the minutes, as well as Sean, I'm sorry, did you already get it? You still have to give your regular monthly report, or you're set?
No, I did that one first. So
You
we
did
got that one knocked
Yeah, I
out
thought
already.
so.
too.
Okay.
Yeah.
And accept the monthly treasurer's report.
Yeah.
Need a second for the somebody can make the resolution,
I'll make the resolution.
made by Nick. Need a second. Rich,
I'll second.
roll call.
Dan,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
Dave, and Nick.
Aye.
Resolution
Thank you.
carries. Yeah, nice work, Sean.
Thank you.
We'll head back to the DFD President's Report. Eric Denny, the Vice President, is here. Eric,
Yep, I'm getting there. Sorry.
that's all right.
So yes, I'm here tonight. We do not know how long PJ will be out of service. So in his place, please direct anything the district needs to myself, and we will either take care of it, get information to whatever the request is for. We have no new applicants at this time. In a pre-COVID situation, we would have had our banquet a couple of weeks ago, but we're looking forward to next year. Everything else has been going as smooth as it can given the circumstances. That's all I have right now.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Does anybody have any questions for Eric? Okay. Review of the current month's invoices. Any questions on the any of the invoices? Okay, barring no questions, entertain a resolution to approve payment and authorization.
I make that motion.
Made by Dave. Need a second? Rich, roll call.
Dan,
Aye.
Rich, Dave,
Sorry, aye.
and Nick.
Aye.
Resolution carries. Correspondence received. Bob,
Yes, we received the check from Auctions International for $5,200. That was for the sale of the two surplus command vehicles. Received KeyBank FDIC insurance assets ending 1/29/2021. We received the Association of Fire Districts February, March 21 District Affairs Bulletin. We received a FOIL request, but it happened to be out of district. It was a fire call that was in the city of Rensselaer. So the appropriate notifications were made to the requester. We also received a small check from the New York State Insurance Fund. This was after they do their employer census for our payroll. We paid a few dollars extra, so we received a check back on that. That would have been for the period from January through July of 2020. And we also received the VFIS Winter 2021 news.
All right. Any questions for Bob? Okay, and there was no correspondence sent.
Correct.
Old business, the Code of Ethics Board, Dave.
Yeah, we actually have quite a few participants this time. I made contact with about 7 people. And when we got there, we have 3, but we have 5. And I'd like to put in Mike Lashmitz for chair. And then we have Janice Kerwin, Jeff Steer, Scott Kennedy, and Mike Vichay.
All right. Nice mix of people.
Outstanding.
All goes well. Hopefully they will have nothing to do.
The only thing is Mike asked for an updated version of the guidelines so that he get it out to all the members and we go from there.
All right. Bob, can you take care of getting Mike that?
Yes. Yep.
Thanks. Any questions before we make a motion to appoint these individuals? All right, entertain a motion to appoint the folks that Dave just mentioned to the Board of Ethics.
So moved.
Rich, need a second? By Nick, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. The other thing we have, it's not on there, it would fit multiple places, but the COVID, I guess, reopening stages. Last month, we received a request to start having in-person events and drills. And we had said start having like outdoor drills and things like that. And there was going to be a state class, and then we would revisit kind of loosening some of the restrictions that we have in place, and just to kind of see how the first month went. So I wanted to generate a conversation like that. So if we can get some input from the chiefs. Tiffany gave a great report. I appreciate her being here. I did notice that they mentioned that they had the in-person meeting. I know there was not a president here from Wine and Skill last month, but I just think it's kind of important that we kind of have consistent practices district-wide. Mark, I don't know, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, actually, everything went pretty well. Like I said, everybody's been following the, proper protocols, wearing your mask, social distancing, cleaning and everything else like that. And I know with the COVID going down, the numbers are going down really quick.
I guess what I meant, I guess in the future, if you could just reach out, because we were kind of restricting things then based on the collaborative agreement at the last meeting. So we just kind of want to be consistent district-wide.
I think we're doing pretty well, both sides. Even we've had multiple alarms together, and everybody's wearing their masks and stuff until they have to take it off and go to work, and they put it back on. So I don't see any problems, and I'm sure William hasn't seen any either.
Mark, can I interrupt a second? You're not getting it. I took some heat because DeFriestville on Thursday night last week conducted their monthly meeting remotely because that was the guidance that the board last gave.
Right.
And I took heat because on Tuesday night, not only had Wine and Skill done their meeting in person, but they had had an award ceremony and then posted it all on Facebook. And that was something that we had said we were going to try some drills, but we weren't ready to do the meetings yet. And we wanted to see how the drills went. So, nothing bad happened. The cart got a little far out in front of the horse. Part of it's probably because Adam didn't make last month's meeting, and there was probably some miscommunication there. And I get all that. I understand it. It's just we got to do things consistently. That's all.
Sure, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the point I was making. And stuff happens in between meetings, so you guys just reach out, communicate with each other, and then then reach out to us. But, we've really been trying with this whole, pandemic, which none of us have ever lived through one before. I don't think anybody was around in 1918. But really trying to
Harry
work
was.
a collaborative manner between the two fire companies and the fire district and have some consistency. So on that note, I do think, my personal opinion, I do think we should open up more. I think we should just have some clear guidance that we're going to follow consistently across the district, whether that be with, making sure we can do contact tracing if necessary, whether we're going to do temperature checks. I know talking to William earlier, he's got some ideas for drills. I don't know the percentage, maybe the chiefs could give us. I think the vast majority of members are vaccinated. So that is a huge help, so you've got vaccinated people around other vaccinated people. And maybe Terry can give us some ideas what you're starting to see in other districts. So I'll turn it over to the two chiefs. Maybe you've already got a plan in place.
Well, I'll just speak up for a second. For us, we haven't done hands-on drills yet. Well, we did do the ice drill with wine and skill, which apparently went very well with what was going on with that. Obviously, with DeFreesville, we ended up planning out a little bit longer term for online training. So that's why we didn't end up having hands-on drills during most of February. So that was kind of our end of that. March, we're going to get back into that swing of things of hands-on. Like Mark said, everybody's doing a good job wearing the mask and everything else. CDC, I guess, just came out with new guidelines in regards to mask wearing and everything else. I'll be very honest. I got pulled into work early this morning, so I haven't even had a chance to read anything of that nature, or how those guidelines go in regards. I know some people are inquiring about, wearing masks in the station and stuff like that, which obviously for the moment is we're going to do, but I kind of, things are developing continuously now of, since the vaccinations came out, of mask wearing and protocols and stuff like that. So I think we just got to, obviously, like you said, work as a group and figure this out.
I think for now, the masks have to stay in place. You read those CDC guidelines, they talk about if you're with one family, you could be with 30, 40 families at once at a monthly meeting. Wouldn't you agree, Terry, on that?
Yeah, absolutely. And the good news is, things are loosening up, and it tends to have like an exponential or a multiplier effect of other things opening up. So I think, I think we're past the beginning of it, and it's going to pick up momentum. But for now, and because we don't have everybody in our own places vaccinated, and two, we're probably never going to have everybody in our places vaccinated for various reasons. Some people won't get it. You're going to have to kind of lift the restrictions off as we go forward, kind of like peeling an onion, and you may end up having to have two sets of protocols. If everybody's in the room, say an officers meeting, everybody's been vaccinated, okay, maybe it'll be lightened up a little bit, but other than that, you're going to have to adhere to the social distancing and mask rules. So, but I expect by the time we're talking next month, there'll be still further changes. This seems to be getting a lot of, again, things are changing exponentially, not arithmetically with how it's going. So it's a good thing. But I think you do have to ease into it, and you have to do in-person drills would probably be a very legitimate next function. Those tend to be your obviously your firefighters, your active, not your social. They probably also tend to be your highest demographic of people that have been vaccinated, and the ones with least likely to have any comorbidities by virtue of the demographic group. So I think that's a logical place to start. That and call response, and it's also, those are also two things that are under the essential services heading. A fire company meeting, although important, is not an essential service, whereas drills, call responses, things of that sort are. So I think you get a little more wiggle room with respect to what you can do, and I think that those are probably the two places I would start. You guys are, by virtue of being the one of the earliest meetings of the month that I have, you guys are kind of on the forefront of this stuff again, as always. But we're starting to see, more opening up.
So Terry, as far as the monthly meetings, I guess what between that, the next monthly meeting for Wine and Skill occurs after the next commissioners meeting. So we will have met before that. For DFD, it looks like there's 5 Thursdays in April. So is the next one April 1st for the monthly meeting? Am I reading that right?
That would be the plan at this point in time, yes.
So why don't we, and again, things could change between now and April 1st. I think, kind of going on what Terry said, this would be my suggestion. We maintain the masks, obviously, for now. We maintain the social distancing for now. We'll revisit it next month. But if there's other developments between now and the next commissioners meeting, I think the district and the 2 fire companies need to get on the same page before the next meeting. So if we're looking at making an interim change, it doesn't require a special meeting of the Board of Fire Commissioners and all that, but a conversation, some emails, all right, this is the direction we're gonna go in, just so we're all on the same page. Does anybody have a better idea, or do you think that's fair?
I think it's worth feeling it out a little bit, Dan, because I read as soon as I saw that report this morning, I went on the CDC and read the guidelines. And I think I read it a little differently than apparently you and Terry did. Because the way I read it was, is if you've had 2 shots and you're 2 weeks out from the second shot, and everybody in the group is 2 weeks out from the second shot, we're good to go. That's the way I read it. So maybe I misread it.
I literally glanced at it. I can't say I gave it a thorough read, and I was on so
I went back and read it in detail this morning because I knew we were going to have this discussion tonight.
The iteration I got, Rich, was small groups and families, and I'll go back again. I got it through.
It talks about small groups and families when you talk about commingling with people that haven't had the shot, and then it starts to talk about as long as they're from the same family, it gets into some very fine details there. But when they're talking about 50 firefighters that have all had the shot, second shot more than 2 weeks out, good to go. That's that. And again, it might be my misread, but I'm sure there's going to be further guidance and interpretation and regurgitation of what was said by the CDC, and the state may come out and say that's fine, but here's the state guidelines. We haven't heard that part of it yet either. So I'm not opposed to going slowly, as long as we're going slowly but moving forward.
Yeah.
The fact that this is not even 12 hours old, I think to just say tonight, all right, forget the social distancing, forget the masks, and we're basing this on our own interpretation could.
But we're going to have those that are going to come and yell at us that are going to they're going to have that interpretation. That's not a big deal, but
it's easier to loosen up than it is to loosen up and then restrict.
You're right.
And to not have potential liability issues. I personally think, and again, there's 5 people on the board, and we could take Terry's advice. I think for now we stick with the social distancing and the masks, and hopefully we get some clarification. And Terry, maybe you can actually look into for us, how does this apply to government functions such as a fire district drill?
Yeah, and
fire company meeting.
I did not read it directly from the CDC, so I got it today through a news article. So
I'm reading it right off the website right now. It says, if you've been fully vaccinated, you can gather indoors with fully vaccinated people without wearing a mask. And we're going to have people come to us with that interpretation and that belief saying, what are we doing all this stuff for? Why can't we use the meeting rooms? Why can't we hang out here on Friday night?
What are you gonna what are you gonna do for the people that haven't been vaccinated or can't get
You just
vaccinated?
got to say that it's not available to,
So-
you haven't bothered to go get your vaccine. It was made available to you. You didn't go get it. Oh, well.
Yeah, that's not always the case though, Rich. And you can't, I think for meetings in particular, I think, and I think Tiffany, whoever made the presentation tonight was excellent, by the way. I think you still leave a remote access for people that can't go or shouldn't go to meetings.
I'm playing devil's advocate here. I'm fully in agreement that we should move slowly. But I'm saying that I want to make sure that we're all on firm and the same firm ground on this. And it doesn't waver from station to station or day to day or group to group or whatever. I want to make sure we're on the same ground. We'll move slowly, essential services only with masks. I'm fully in agreement with that, but we've all got to be on the same ground.
Rich, you're retired, have a lot of time on your hands.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Dave, you're
Yeah.
retired, have more time on your hands, and you're over in Wine and Skill. Here's what I'd like to suggest. At least for tonight, we stick with the masks, we stick with the social distancing. I'd rather play it, cautiously and on the safe side. But between the two of you, Terry and Bob kind of representing our staff, if the four of you can look into this a little bit more closely, whether we're checking with Association of Fire Districts, the health department, whatever, and try to get, rather than us just sitting here making a educated guess, kind of come up with some recommendations. And then the two commissioners, Terry and Bob, you get together, talk about it with the board, and then we'll tie the chiefs in and let us know, all right, here's how you can loosen things up more, or the president's here, how you can loosen things up more.
I think that's
I think we're shooting from the hip right now. We really don't know.
Well, I hear what you're saying, but I mean, they've opened it up. The meetings are separated. They're wearing their masks during the meetings. And I think that's a good thing. I think that's as far as we need to go until the next commissioners meeting. It works out well for Wyanskill. I did see it. It was mentioned to the president to check before he did it. And apparently he didn't check, so he just did it. And Mark's aware of it. They're getting itchy, but I think part of the responsibility comes down to us, make sure that we give some type of posting in the station saying this is the guideline as of this date, so that nobody gets confused and does it on their own again, just like they just did. Because I don't want the members to go back and forth. We're going to close down. We're going to open. We're going to close down. Let's be firm on
I
our.
don't think anybody took down the previous postings, did they? Previous postings pretty much said that it was closed for all except emergency calls, and then anybody in there had to be wearing a mask.
But then we left it up to the chiefs to make a decision on their own to do whatever they felt.
For firematic stuff, and they were supposed to come back to us with a plan. And I don't want to beat up on anybody here. It happened. It's not. I just want to make sure that we're doing things consistently, and we're all on the same firm ground. That's all. And by the way, I had last fall we had been contacted by county chiefs, and I had a conversation with PJ. They wanted us to host a meeting a week from tonight, next Monday. And I'd forgotten completely about it. PJ and I hadn't done anything with it because of the COVID situation. But now, based on this discussion, I don't think I'm going to be talking to Eric about setting something up quick. I don't know that we're not going to let our members meet and do things like until our next meeting. I certainly don't think we'll be bringing in people from other fire departments to have a meeting in our station.
What I'm trying to say is,
but between now and the next meeting, we're going to get together and come up with a decision that we're going to try to get back out to the membership and everybody involved. I think it's just easier just to leave it, open their meetings up, keep your distance, wear your mask, and we'll address it again come April.
what I'm asking though, Dave, is Rich is interpreting it like we don't need masks, we don't need social distancing. That might be his interpretation. Before I think we agree to that, things need to be looked into a little bit more. I'm fine with what you're suggesting, but between now and 4 weeks, at the rate things have been changing, if it's very clear between now and 4 weeks that we can make significant changes, I don't think we should really be keeping people cooped up unnecessarily for a whole month if a week from now we get other guidance.
I agree, but I don't think they're cooped up. I think if they can go to their monthly meeting and they can do their drills, keep your distance, wear your mask, I think that's probably what they're looking for right now.
Clearly, the stumbling block here, Dan, is the monthly meeting. We got 4 weeks to figure it out. I think by then we'll have some clarity on the guidance.
Yeah, I mean, it's really only one monthly meeting. It's the DFD one.
Yeah, it's the DFD one that's affected, and they're already doing it remote, so it's not as much of an issue.
Right. But what I'm asking is if you and Dave, could look into this with Terry's advice, just so we're not just sitting here spinning our wheels at the next Zoom meeting. And if some other, if some other changes need to occur in between, I think they got to reach out. We'll go from.
We may even be able to discuss between now and then having our next meeting in person again. But again, it's all water that hasn't passed under the bridge yet, because we got a couple weeks to look at this stuff.
Yeah, and me personally, I'm not uncomfortable if somebody needs to have a smaller committee meeting down here in person and they have the masks and they're socially distanced. Where you have your little pre-drill meeting and you're indoors and you got your mask and you're socially distanced. I think that's fine. Dave, isn't that basically what you're saying?
Yeah, I just think it's a lot easier just to give them the opening of their meetings and let them wear their mask and keep their distance like they're doing. And it works out well. They're happy about it. And then as we move into the next meeting, we can certainly look at the next step.
Dave, you're missing.
I think there's a lot of confusion here with Mark on the way you anticipate it happening, because I saw it this last meeting, how it went down.
Dave, I think you keep saying, let them keep their meetings. They're happy with it. They did it fine. That's not the case on this side of town. They were told no, and they did it virtually again on Thursday.
I understand that. But now we're talking about the next meeting.
Okay.
So we're past that. And like I said, I addressed it with the president and he went and did it anyways.
And you can't control that. That's not your fault. All right, Dan, I'll start researching a little, and Dave, if you can dig into it a little bit, and Terry, I'm sure will do his thing, and I'll have a conversation with Bob, and we'll see what we can come up with between the four of us for next month's meeting.
All right, Mark,
I think you had your hand up.
So I know I understand this right. Are we allowed to take and have them membership in the firehouse for the monthly meeting as well as doing it Zoom? Or are we stopping and just strictly do Zoom for the next meeting? So I have.
Well, you don't have any month. You don't have a monthly meeting coming up before the next commissioners meeting, so it's really not an issue.
Our monthly meeting will be the 6th, April 6th.
Right.
So it'll be before the commissioners meeting. Commissioners meeting won't be until the 12th.
No.
Right? If I'm looking at it right. The 6th is the first Tuesday of the month for us, and the commissioners meeting won't be until the 12th. So we will have
second Monday. So both fire companies will have met before.
we will have it prior.
Our next commissioners meeting.
All right. I really think I'd like to go back to what I originally suggested. Rich and Dave and Terry and Bob kind of look into this and come up with a recommendation. So we can get that out. Send an email to the board so these departments have an answer by the time their next monthly meeting's coming up.
Sounds good.
Okay. I just
My personal opinion, I kind of don't think it's a bad idea to let them, but I want to make sure that we're, once you start going in about Rich about, all right, no masks, no social distancing, I just think we're going from 0 to 100 in about 2 seconds, and we need to kind of take this.
I agree, and that's why I think we got to have it clear when we do open them up to meetings, what exactly our expectations are.
Right. I think the way that, the masks in the engine room set apart is reasonable, but we've got 4 weeks to figure it out. So if our two retired commissioners and Terry and Bob can do a little research and come up with a clear guideline, share it with the rest of the board, then we'll share it with everybody else in plenty of time before the next meetings. In the meantime, is everybody comfortable if the chiefs can plan their drills accordingly, you know, socially distanced in the engine room or outdoors, practice good safety measures, you know, if you're having a little meeting before your drill, I'm fine with that. Are you guys?
I'm okay with it. Like I
Good.
said, keep your distance and wear your mask.
All right. Eric, did you have your hand up earlier?
I did. You guys basically addressed it. The only comment that I'll make as a reminder is just because we are vaccinated as firefighters, we do have social members. That's why for the next meeting, we were anticipating doing a hybrid in person and a Zoom. But also remember that while we're vaccinated, we can still be a carrier. So someone could carry it into the firehouse, transmit it to someone, and then take it home to some other unvaccinated family members or work or whatnot. So just a piece of food for thought, and we'll
And that's-
obviously adhere to your guidance of whatever you
I
guys
think you
decide.
raised very good points.
But that's if you read the CDC stuff that came out today, some of that is refuted. So we got to go into it in more depth.
I don't
All right.
disagree because I did see I got a glance of that myself today. So like I said, we'll defer to whatever you guys want us to do and whatever mechanism, and we'll just keep plugging along.
You know, on the flip side, you also hear, you know, all over the news, the controversy of, you know, some of these states that are completely lifting mask mandates and everything else. So I just think you get 40 people in a room. It's a different ball game than, you know, a much smaller group standing out in the engine room farther apart. So, but we'll have answers before the next round of meetings. All right. Anything else under old business? Okay, new business. A lot of work was done by the chiefs and Dave and Rich and Bob. Am I leaving anybody out on the equipment purchases? Very thorough.
Couple captains were big in it.
All right, captains. I'm more referring to the people on here, but and the captains. So thank you. It was very detailed. With somebody who would like to kind of give an overview of it. We've all had a chance to read it. I don't think we need to go into every single detail, but just a general overview and what the recommendation is. And then if we are going to go with that before we actually go to make the purchase, it's my understanding Terry has a hose standardization resolution for us to consider. So
I'll speak to some of it, Dan. We met and basically we broke the discussion into three sections: hose, nozzles, and other equipment. And in all three cases, Dave and I asked some very pointed questions and asked for explanation, even on things, and on my case, and I think on Dave's case too, even on things that we thought we already knew the answer to. We asked the question again to make sure that we were getting, you know, are they committed to this? Do they know what they're asking for, or are they just asking for the most expensive thing out there? And in many cases, they weren't. But I think we got good answers. In very short summary, the nozzle purchase allows us to have every operational nozzle on all 6 full-size pieces, with the exception of the Master Stream nozzles, be identical in nature with the valve. And these are going to be a full flow valve. They're going to be a metal valve, no plastic parts. And then the tip, will vary from application to application. The bumper nozzles on the 2 new pieces will have a different nozzle than the crosslay nozzle, for example. An 1 3/4 will have a different diameter tip than a 2-inch because of its capability to flow more. But in all cases, the ball valve will accept it. So it's a good, solid plan there. The hose, we kind of subdivided that down into attack hose and supply hose. The tack hose, I don't think there was any question on the wear and tear on the of the hose that they proposed is good. It was a little bit more, no, slightly more expensive, not a lot more, but it's consistent with the hose we've been buying right along. Bob gave us some assurances there that it was we're good to go there. The LDH, I'll tell you, they sold me on it. Not only did they give a real good description of the increased flow, the lighter weight, providing additional firefighter safety, the fact that there's no bond, that the inner liner and outer liner are bonded together, so you're not going to get that liner separation where the water gets in between the liners and actually plugs the intakes like we've had in the past. And I think we've seen that in both departments over the years. And then they went so far as to lay out a couple lengths or a length of each hose over at the Winesco Firehouse. And that's why I mentioned I was over there earlier in the month. I went over there to look at hose and to actually feel it, play with it, and check it out and get a feel for each of them. So they did a good job on it. And then the other part of all this, the other equipment, they had a detailed list. They went through it step by step, and I'm very comfortable with the package as it's presented.
I agree with Rich on a lot of it. I do want to thank the officers that were involved on putting it together, because I know it's frustrating, but the responsibility for the commissioners here is that we are spending a lot of money on this. And if you look back at the time and the last time we purchased hose and putting it all together, we're going to have the two departments online with everything so that it's interchangeable. It's easier to work with. The hose weight itself, I don't believe it's only like 20 pounds, but it certainly feels like 40 pounds difference in weight. And that hopefully will save somebody from getting hurt lifting it or moving it. So I'm very happy with the way it was done. And I think as far as being a commissioner, I think the officers that were involved in this took to heart the cost values and was justifying the difference in pricing, which helped us to be more frugal on everything. I think we'll get our money's worth out of it.
All right. Either of the chiefs, do you have anything to add?
No, I think both commissioners covered it. And like I said, the assistant chiefs and the captains really did a good job. Just to reiterate that they really did their homework. I mean, they created pages of, this is the reason why we need the stuff. And they very much show the reason why we need this hose and equipment. So, I can't argue with anything that's been said. The lighter hose will make it easier on people and hopefully not get anybody hurt by back injury or anything else. So.
All right. Yeah, no, they definitely did a nice job on that. And really made a good justification for all of the equipment. All right. Bob, just so we know what we're voting on. I've got a hard copy here, but.
Yeah, what I could do, Dan, is just take everybody very quickly through this spreadsheet, just so that they understand.
Yep.
Okay. So Rich didn't really speak too much about the new engine equipment, but we've already sent that around to the board, so they're aware of what that $21,000 represents for the new engines, $21,608.04. What Richard spoke about on the nozzles, it's $18,154.64. On the hose, $47,545. And also what was being encumbered from last year was equipping Winesco with a new dual purpose hose and gear dryer. Theirs is the existing hose and gear dryer from when the station was built. So if you look below, you'll see some of the encumbered items that Sean spoke a little bit about. For the SCBA initially, we were allocating up to $96,000, but we're actually only spending $50,959, and you'll see the engine equipment, we had allocated 25,967 and what we had allocated for the hose and gear dryer. So if we take those amounts that we have credit, so to say, and we back that out of the $96,000, what we're really coming up with is that we're going to need to allocate $15,803.06 out of somewhere. Spoke with Treasurer Kerwin, and we feel that this should come out of the Chiefs Fund allocation. There's enough money in that budget to absorb that, and again, I think the commissioners have made it very clear to the Chiefs all the way along that if, as the year goes on, if there's a need for something that the Chiefs need and they're short on their budget, they're going to come to the commissioners, but it really should come out of there. It shouldn't come out of any place else. So what we spoke a little bit about on the hose is that this is a perfect opportunity for the board to adopt the resolution for the standardization, so that 2 years from now, we need 200 feet of the attack line, or we need a couple hundred feet of LDH. We're not going to be having this issue of what we're going to buy. Are we going to buy this brand or that brand? Well, we know what type of hose we're going to buy. The nozzles are on New York State contract. The hose is not on New York State contract, but comparatively with the vendor that sells under New York State contract, Fire Equip, this hose that we're purchasing is actually slightly less than the New York State contract price. And I think Terry's going down to the hose. Yeah, this one right there. So, we would be purchasing the hose from Garrison, and Garrison is selling Snap Tight, which sells all the attack line and all the LDH. So, I just think the board should know that it's not on New York State contract. That's why we got, 3 quotes, and the Pond Supreme is what the committee, the Chiefs, and, ultimately the board will want to purchase. And that's why putting it into the standardization policy will make it easier, for future years. Terry, if you could just go to the next one for the dual hose dryer. I just want to point out on this, and I think there's a little bit cut off. Yeah. Okay. So right now, DeFreeseville has the Circular Air Corp dual purpose hose dryer. What we're looking to do is get the same exact hose dryer. Garrison provided a quote for Groves, which it's a different gear dryer. MES provided a quote for Groves and for Circular Air. Fortunately, we have a vendor in our backyard, and that's Gouch Distributing, which we've purchased products off of Gouch before. They're right at Eames Plaza, and they are a direct supplier for Circular Air. And so, my recommendation would be that we would buy that, and that's an installed price. When we say installed, they will set it up, they will level it, they're not going to hook the electricity in the venting up, but they're going to get it out of the crate, and they're going to get it leveled and get it ready to be hooked up. That's more than what the other vendors will do. So, Terry, if you could go back up to the top, the first one. So that's the proposed purchases at $96,807.68.
All right. And the standardization resolution, do you have that to put up?
Do you have that, Terry?
Stand by one. Here we go. Got it?
Yep.
So I think it would be appropriate to pass this resolution prior to approving the equipment purchase, correct, Terry?
Yeah, I think by virtue of the amount of the initial purchase, you should probably standardize before you take that plunge. So there's a lot of stuff in here, but I think I captured the essence of what Bob presented, what was presented to the board, and particularly those things that were recommended by the captains and the chief officers. So if it needs to be fluffed up a little bit, we can do that. But essentially, there's reasons of safety, longevity. This is it's not the lowest costing, but it's not the highest costing either. And we've just kind of articulated in here, I think that legally sufficient reasons for it. Maybe not every reason, and if it need to, we can revise it. But I think we got it covered for standardization purposes for this purchase and going forward. And you can always undo this, and or another board can undo it at some point in time if they choose to.
All right. I'll make the motion to pass the standardization policy. Is it Terry?
Yep, standardization policy.
All right.
Or
I'll make
actually,
it.
let me take that back. Standardization resolution. It's not really a policy. It's just
Okay.
It's part.
All right.
It's an exception from your procurement policy.
All right. I'll make it. Can I have a second?
I'll second, Dan.
Seconded by Nick. Roll call.
Dan,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
Nick,
Aye.
All right.
Okay.
And now, any questions on the purchases before we vote on that? Entertain a resolution to approve the purchases in the amount of $96,807.68.
So moved. So resolved.
All right, made by Rich. Need a
Second.
second? By Dave. Roll call.
Dave,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
Nick,
Aye.
all ayes. Okay.
All right, resolution carries. All right. DFD Car 2 body quotes. Is that the chief or is that Bob?
Well, I mean, the chief and Assistant Chief Galligan obtained the quotes. The low quote was Skodak Auto Body at $3,578.03. We probably should have done this the last time as far as actually cutting the rust out, although there was other work done previously by the other body shop provider, and they made it very clear that the rust would come back. This should hopefully take care of it for several years, that we're not going to be going back to it. And the vehicle has low mileage on it, so this vehicle should be in the fleet, a minimum of possibly another 5 years. It's in 5 years plus. It's in great condition, so I could see this vehicle holding on even longer than the other 2013 Tahoe.
Bob, will this have to be restriped? Because I know some of the Tahoes are, the lettering and stuff is pretty faded.
Well, that Tahoe just had some striping work done to it not too long ago, but the good thing is that there's so little striping on the sides of these vehicles. It's just that like 3/4 inch line that goes down the side, so it's not that expensive. But yeah, there will need to be a little striping done.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to get them done right.
All right. we can go and approve that. Does anybody want to make that motion or resolution?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Dave, second by Rich, roll call.
Dave,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
Nick,
Aye.
Resolution carries. 2021 lawn care renewal. Bob, you want to just give a brief summary?
They're gonna, high-tech lawn care, we still have the opportunity to renew our contract with them. They're gonna hold the pricing from last year. And they've done a very good job. I would see no reason to change at this point. My recommendation would be for the board to go forward with it.
All right. Any questions? Entertain a resolution to renew the contract.
Make the resolution to redo the contract.
Made by Nick. Need a second?
Second.
Rich, roll call.
Nick,
Aye.
Dave.
Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
and Rich.
Aye.
Carries. Ground ladder testing quote. Bob?
Yes. So I sent out a notice to the two companies that have done this testing before, Fire Service Safety Testing, and the other company is Safety First Fire Equipment. They both came in at the same quote of $2.70 a foot for ladder testing. My recommendation would be to stay with Safety First Fire Equipment. They're out of Averill Park. They did our testing 2 years ago, and we've been happy with them. They just did the hose testing last year. So my recommendation would be to do this. And I also tentatively booked a date in June because they're basically booked up almost through October.
All right. Any questions for Bob? Okay, entertain a resolution to go with Safety First.
So resolved.
I'll second it.
Second by Nick, roll call.
Rich,
Aye.
Nick,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
and Dan.
Aye.
Resolution carries.
All right. Department chiefs reports. DFD chief. William.
Okay, sorry about that. You hit most of my things that I wanted to get at. I just kind of wanted to hit back on or come back around to the tag subject where I brought up last month. Looked into it a little bit more and had a little bit more information, spoke with people. I know there's some, I don't know, talking about it. Basically what we wanted to do was get obviously tags for people for their wallet. And then also the other additional idea was for it to have our accountability tags attached onto it. So one would be, or two of them would be hole punched and then the other would be for your wallet. Basically we want to standardize the entire, both departments. Right now, DeFreeseville and Wyandotte have two different tag systems. Wyandotte has a different coloring system for their tags. DeFreeseville has a different coloring system for their tags. One of the things that we were trying to do is standardization. The main thing that we're, like I said, it would be the name on the tag with DeFreeseville or Wyandotte, North Greenbush Fire District, interior or exterior. Basically something very simple just for accountability. Right now I can attest for the DeFreeseville tags, you need a magnifying glass for some of that, just some of the writing on it. And you got to read Class C firefighter exterior only. It's small, so we wanted to get something a little bit bigger, hoping this would be a little bit more, like I said, standardize both departments. It came in a little bit under $1,200, I believe. Bob had a quote from a month and a half ago, which, if I recall correctly. So I know, like I said, it's a discussion point for some of you guys of whether or not to go for it or not.
Comments, questions from the board?
This is for both departments, the $1,200.
Yes.
I've seen the old system and I think it's probably something that we could refresh. I'm in favor. I think the chiefs, it's a reasonable offer price to put something together for all the way through. It may help having the IDs for everybody, little motivation thing.
And, you know, one of the comments that was brought up was, you know, it's not going to be, you know, your rank or anything like that. It's just going to be you're a firefighter. It's so we're not wasting money every year of ranks change or anything like that. And the cost in our mind would be like it's about $100 upkeep every year. Just, you know, you lose some, you gain new members, things like that come along, and you just, that was the thought.
I am not opposed at all to issuing of a photo ID to the members in two forms, one for a wallet card and one for hanging on a coat or whatever. I have talked to William. I'm not in favor of replacing the accountability system that's currently in place with it, because I think that we did that early on. We tried that many years ago before we went to the tags that we have now, the luggage style tags we have now. And what we found was that the plasticized cards, those cards that typically hang on your jacket or whatever, just didn't hold up. So, I mean, they want to go it and they put a lot of effort into it. They think they're going to be able to make it work. I'm not going to fight it. I just think we'll be revisiting it in another 2 or 3 years.
William, did you get a look at the actual tags to see if they're a little better than the old style?
Actually, I think Dury just popped up a thing on there for you guys. Obviously, that was just a demo one that he threw up. What was your question in regards to it? Sorry.
Is it a little heavier quality wise, laminated wise?
It's laminated, it's thick. You know, like anything else, it can break. Like our old tags have broken before too. I mean, it's, you know, it just comes with the wear and tear of anything. You know, not everything's bulletproof. So, but I think it'll hold up fairly well. And if I'm wrong, you can tell me someday I'm wrong, which would be the first time.
Bob, can you go back up to the sample card? So is that the card that they carry in their wallet, or is that the accountability tag, or do they both look alike?
We were going to have them approximately look alike. Like I said, that was kind of a demo one where they were playing around with stuff. Obviously, it's going to get sharpened up more. Like I said, it'll be DeFriesville or Wyanskill, and then North Greenwich Fire District along the bottom, and along with your name. Like I said, that's just a demo and just kind of.
But you're going to eliminate the rank and
Yeah, we're going to eliminate the rank and basically say interior or exterior.
Okay.
And then can you go to the scroll so we can see the back, Bob, a little bit more? Yeah, and I would have here like the Freesville Fire Department / North Greenwich Fire District.
Yes.
And maybe include the fire district website or fire company website. You know.
Yeah. Keep in mind, if they this is all they got in their wallet, and they show up in an ER for a firefighter injury, you know, as soon as they start saying the Freesville Fire Department or Wyanskill Fire Department, that screws up the workman's comp because it's North Greenwich Fire District. So it should be very clear as to which it is.
Dan, to answer your question about all three cards are going to look exactly the same. The only difference will be for the members' interior exterior status, and I think that we're going to use the red bar would be for interior, and then the black bar would be for an exterior member. But all three cards would be exactly the same.
So William, your thought would be, or Mark, your guys' thoughts would be that people would wear two of these on their turnout coat and give one of them up when they boarded the apparatus and then another one up when they went interior?
Yeah, that's the basic idea. Like you won't be fumbling for which tag color do I have to put on the truck. It's just you drop one on the truck because it's whatever's on your coat, and
What secures them to the coat?
it would be like our the ones that we have now, the little clips that we have.
With the little clips that they kind of like actually,
Yeah, the circular ones that open and close when you pinch on them.
Yeah,
not like the ones that Artie Stewart's made up years ago. that
No,
Rich
no,
was
no.
referring to that
Not
fall
like
off.
an alligator clip, but more like a capture clip.
Yeah, that's what.
right there, Dan, we would have to buy some split key rings. So the split key ring would go through the cards that are for accountability. They would go through it, and then the trigger snap would go on the split key ring. So it's kind of like similar to the way the hotel tags are right now. You have a small little like a solid ring, and then the trigger snaps go on it. So it'll be very similar. And I know he was talking about the budget, but I worked up these numbers based on what I was given the information from Jason Strasberg, and it would be probably about $1,500 to start. And then I think I had up here, because I did this a month and a half ago. I think I put in here, it's going to be, it's going to be about $750 to $1,000 a year to maintain the ID card system. You're not going to maintain this system for $100 a year. This is going to cost $750 to $1,000 to get replacement cards made up, cards that, were destroyed, new members. So, they did get a good rate initially from the vendor to get upwards to 300 cards, but, they're not going to give us that same per card rate for 50 cards a year, 60 cards a year. They're not going to do that. So it's going to cost us a little bit more.
I want to point out that if we do this is something that the fire companies are going to have to make a long-term commitment to take partial ownership of, because right now for the district cards that we do, and this is essentially the same system as the district cards, Bob takes the pictures. I see what Bob does down there during the course of the day. He's far too busy than to be keeping track of pictures and taking pictures for 125 active members between the two stations. So this is something that the two companies are going to have to take ownership of to keep it up to speed, keep it up to snuff.
Are the fire companies? I don't remember the conversation last month. I apologize. Is it being proposed the fire district pay for all of this, or is some of this a fire company membership card like they have now that the company?
This has been spurred on. It's been going on for a while, but I think the main thing that spurred it on was the COVID thing and the COVID vaccines, because all of a sudden, we didn't have tags. Nobody had legitimate tags to present to anybody. We had a piece of paper that somebody wrote on that anybody could scribble on a piece of paper and say they're a member somewhere. So, I don't know if you guys want to do like a demo set for a bunch of very active firefighters and see how that goes, and instead of throwing all the money at it. And
Well, the only thing I'm thinking, like durability wise, it may not be a bad idea to do a demo set for some of your most active guys. Like, where the ring goes into the ID, do they start ripping off after? Just before it may not be a bad idea, William.
If I understand this correctly, I guess Wyneskill's been using these tags for a while now. Am I correct, or did I get misinformation there?
Yeah.
Some of the tags that we had were done years ago by Jimmy Burt
Oh, okay.
when he had the camera and stuff down in the county, and that I
kind of took that.
looked into it.
Somebody had mentioned that to me, and then when we were up at that gas leak up on Lorenzo Drive there a week or 2 weeks ago, Eddie Simmons walked up to me and he had one of those tags. So I figured, oh, they must have already done this over there.
Yeah, we tried it for a little bit, but I think the cost was kind of astronomical that we didn't look any further into investing into it.
well, the county printer broke too. That was the other issue.
Right.
On
Yeah,
top
we
of
were-
that was
Yeah.
that because we all had our pictures taken at the firehouse, and then all of a sudden we never had cards
That was it.
generated
We were
because the
done.
printer broke.
Yeah, we got what we got and that was it.
I mean, even accountability tags aside, I do agree with William. I think you should have some type of official identification that shows you're a member of the fire district, whether it be for something like a vaccination or you're traveling on for fire district business and you need to stay in a hotel and you got to show ID, whatever the case may be. So I just think, that is a $750 to $1,000 a year that would be coming out of the chief's equipment budget. So just be aware of that.
I'm wondering if it would be worth, if we're buying two, buy a spare for each person and have that on file to cover that initial investment down the road. So that we're not buying 50 cards, that will have spares. And then make people accountable for losing them or destroying them, depending on the situation.
You're talking buying 4 for each person instead of 3?
Well, I think if we're gonna save money in the beginning initial setup, then have them on file that if they lose one, they got a spare.
How are we saving money in the initial setup? I don't, but
Well, I mean, they're cheaper to buy the group in the beginning versus buying replacements. So if you get one spare for whatever reason, that might be the answer. I don't know.
once they have your photo on file, it's just a matter of making a phone call saying, hey, French lost one of his cards. We need a replacement for French. And then they can do one-offs that way. But
Yeah, one of the thoughts that we were having was like you wait 6 months or so, and if you need a batch generated, so and so lost them, then you just execute a batch at 6 months, and then you do a little bit of cost savings instead of continuously, once every couple weeks or something. That God forbid that ever happened for this.
Yeah, I agree. Plus, I know there's a lot of different type out there. We had them for the Postal Service and they held up. I still have my original one from 20 years ago.
but it don't look the same.
No, it was like my high school picture.
All right, so let's move on this. Does anybody want to make a resolution to proceed with this purchase?
I'll make it.
All right, made by Dave. Need a second?
I'll second it.
By Nick. Roll call.
Nick,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
Rich.
Aye.
All right, resolution carries. William, if you could, before you kind of give us the sample ID there,
Okay.
talk about what to add. Can you send out the final template before you actually put them into production?
Yeah.
Send that to the board.
So myself and Mark and the presidents will go over, because the presidents were also involved a little bit on that end of
It's
design.
fine.
So we just wanted to, we'll make it look good for you guys and get your approval.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a fire district ID, I guess we just want to see what the final product is. and
Yeah.
have that.
No, that's understandable.
So, and if we have a suggestion for a change, we'll give it to you. All
Okay.
right.
I still got a couple things.
It's on your report. All right. go
Sorry.
ahead. That's all right.
It seemed like my report was forever. I had a request for Kylie for training. I believe, I'm not certain if she submitted the paperwork to Bob yet. I apologize. Like I said, I've been getting mandated left and right, so I haven't been able. If she was going to do it, she was going to toss it in the mailbox, but we haven't heard from anybody else on the DeFreeseville end for that training for the Syracuse, which I guess they bumped that up to July now instead of June when it was originally going to be. Also, just to make you guys aware, East Greenbush requested to use our bailout prop in the apparatus bay. They were originally requesting to use it at the end of March. They've since moved it to April due to some scheduling snafu, but they are requesting to use our facility for training. They're trying to do survival and fast training. So I just kind of wanted to get your opinion or approval but I didn't have a problem with them coming over, but I wanted to get your guys' input also. When I talked to Chief Tucker, he said that all of his members were vaccinated, the ones that were going to be coming over. So, but
Yeah,
Whatever,
I think it's fine. As long as they follow whatever procedures we have in place at that time. And there's a policy for the bailout for that.
Yeah. 2 personnel, I believe it's of our personnel are supposed to be in the station to observe the usage of that system, I believe.
So I would just recommend that you carefully review that policy and give Chief Tucker a copy of the policy.
Okay.
I mean, the last thing we need is somebody falling out from on the second floor there and getting seriously.
We're gonna have somebody there from our office here taking care of that, right? As far as the training with them?
Yeah, 2 of our guys will be present to ensure that everything's getting run safely and that none of our equipment's getting damaged, and making sure that they do things correctly on our protocols and procedures.
I think if you can have a chief here, that would even be better.
Yeah. So I'll talk with the assistant chief, Bart Galligan. I got 2 assistant chief Galligans. I got to remember that now. But I'll talk with him. He seemed interested in being around for that. So
yeah, but I would review that policy, thoroughly.
yes.
With Bart, and then I'd sit down or share it with Jeff Tucker. And then whatever, depending upon when they have it, whatever COVID procedures we have in place, that they're clear on whatever they may be at the time, depending upon when their drill is.
Okay.
Any other comments from the board?
And just to tack on to training, New York State's also going to be requesting after the BFO class, I think it's called IFO. It's their version of the interior portion of firefighter training. They're requesting our facility again. So they want to kind of go right from BFO to the next level and use our facility again. So they'll be requesting that. I'm not certain the start date. Obviously, it's going to be start up right after their end date. So they want to just roll right into it. But I'll get you more specific times.
All right, anything else, William?
Nope, that'll be it for my report.
All right, Mark Weinskill.
Okay, I had Sherman Air come in, one of the relief valves on the Scott Air system let go. So I put a new relief valve in and one of the check valves on one of the air bottles, one of the large tanks. That's been completed. Shortly after that, the regulator on truck 4.2 that goes to the bucket air is malfunctioned. So now I got parts on order for that through MES. And probably within the next 3 to 4 weeks, that should be in. They'll be able to take and service that for me. Just a couple of purchases that I have for Bob. He's got the paperwork. Was a couple of 5-gallon cans of the small engine fuel. One's 4-cycle ethanol free, and one's the 50-to-1 2-cycle premix, and a 5-gallon pail of the citrus squeeze for the PPE cleaner. He's got all that paperwork and the figures there for me. The department, last Tuesday, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, we held the accident review board. We had 2 minor incidents one with Rescue 4.2 going to a call over on Interstate 90. And the second one was vehicle was in Hanford's parking lot and someone backed into it. Bob has all the paperwork there, and he was going to get copies of the police report for you. There was no damage done to either one of our vehicles. The only person, the vehicle that was struck on Winter Street happened to be one of our own firefighters, Tim O'Brien. He took and ordered the new mirror for his van, and I believe he senses he's gotten it and installed it himself. The only thing, I had him fill out a voucher for approximately the $497. That was the cost of the mirror. If the district so chooses to go that way, I know, speaking with Bob, I know the district has a $1,000 deductible on the insurance, and I wasn't sure if that was something you wanted to turn in to the insurance for that reason, or if we wanted to take and just pay it out and not have to worry about another mark or anything going against the insurance. So I'll leave that up to you people tonight to take and decide.
Mark, before you get farther ahead, I would agree. My personal opinion would be that we just pay for the mirror if he's fine with that.
Right. Well, I figured run it by yourself and with Terry what he thinks, or if we should take and turn it in. I'll leave that to your discretion.
Yeah. Terry, can you give your opinion now, just so we don't have to revisit this after?
Yeah, it makes sense to pay it. We can do up a quick claim form and then a release as well to cover the whole thing. So we've got the front end and back end covered, but yeah, you should pay it without necessarily turning it in.
All right, go ahead, Mark.
Okay. The only other thing I got a phone call yesterday from Johanna Flanagan. She works at Access Health, and her boss, Phyllis Raymond, they were looking for a place to take and distribute vaccinations. She called me again today to see if I had heard anything yet. I told her I would be making comment to you guys tonight if you decide whether or not to let them take and use the facility. They're looking to use it on Wednesday and Friday of this week if it's available, or you're willing to take and go with it, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. It'll be for the seniors in the Wyanskill area. They also assured me that if any members need the vaccine, any of our fire members, both on Wyanskill and DeFreeseville, they will provide the vaccine to them. Joanne just got in touch with me. They have the vaccine. They've got it. It's the Johnson & Johnson, I believe. It's the one-shot vaccine. So I'm just throwing it out to you if that's something you guys feel is appropriate. I know we just talked about this other stuff, but I know I have five of my members that need the vaccine that have been trying to get it for the last couple of weeks and haven't had much luck. I'm not sure how many William had. I haven't had a chance to talk to him with working and just finding out about this now. So, I mean, if you guys do not decide to go with it, I'll have them reach out to Janice Kerwin, town clerk, and see if they can do something down there for him. But I figured I'd throw it out to you guys and see what you think.
I think anything we can do to help people get vaccinated, the better. I just think if you got a bunch of senior citizens going in and out of there, you gotta have a really well thought out.
They're supplying all the personnel. They have the nurses, the people directing them in and out.
Right. But you're gonna have to help with where would they park? What entrance do they use? What's the flow of the foot traffic in the building?
Yeah, I'll be on top of that with them as soon as I find out one way or the other. But like I said, I think it would be a benefit to us. Like I said, I got 5 members that come up to me. I asked them Tuesday night, and 5 of them come out and said, "Hey, I need to get my vaccination." So, and I like I said, I haven't checked with William, but if there's anybody available over there that needs it, feel free, and we'll try and get them scheduled in.
Terry, anything from a legal point of view?
No, it's logistically, I can see it'll be a challenge at Wyanskill. I think you pointed that out.
Do we know how many people that are going to look to give shots those 2 days?
I have no idea. I know she told me that they have to order 100 vaccinations each time. So we know that there's at least 100 coming that they got.
I find I think it's going to be a problem trying to get them into the upstairs and maneuver them through and control all that without them parking down in emergency parking or getting tied up in the back of the station. I think the town gymnasium, that area is probably a lot easier for everybody, but I'll wait to hear what the board says.
Dave, the gymnasium down at the town hall is under construction, so they couldn't utilize that.
Oh, well, that's not good then.
Where is Access Health? Is that down here on Route 4?
Latham.
No, over in Latham. They were the ones we originally had for our physicals, and then we switched out.
So are they specifically targeting Wyanskill, or are they just targeting North Greenbush?
Well, they're doing for the residents in North Greenbush, Wyanskill area.
would it make more sense to do it over in DeFrisco? More room to work, more room to park.
I don't see why not, but I mean, she just
I'm
approached
throwing it
me.
out there.
Yeah.
Danny and I had a discussion about this earlier in the month when we were approached, third party approached about another pharmacy wanting to come in and do it. And that never came to fruition at all. It turned out that it appears that it might not have been thorough information, or complete information. They never got back to us anyway.
Looks like these guys are ready to rock and roll. She just texted me. She's got the vaccination, so she's just waiting to hear whether or not it gets approved.
I'm just curious. I mean, if she's doing 100, then that's not such a big deal. But if she's doing 500,
Right.
that is a big deal.
Well, they can only order, I guess she can only order like 100 or something a day or whatever.
If you got her on contact there, find out how many she's.
Yeah, how many? Yeah. Find out how many, find out, see if the location is critical.
Well, it is tight, the parking and everything up there. So, I mean, you want what's going to be convenient for senior citizens.
There's not a lot of handicap parking there.
All right. Well, why don't we move on in the meeting and we'll get back to this.
Right. The only other thing I got is I just want to thank Sean for getting those let's see, where am I here? Getting our balances out to us, our monthly balances on what we've spent, and also for getting the paperwork out for the LoSAP right away. We were able to get it done in January, get it approved and out sometime in February. I actually just got my check from Empower Retirements now. Apparently they took an acquisition, Mass Mutual, for the retirement plan. So actually we got it in less than 3 months. Usually we're waiting 5 or 6 months to take and get it. So thank you, Sean, for all your help with that. Made it much easier.
I got mine today as well. That was kind of surprised me.
And Nick too. Nick ran point on that, so.
Yep. Yeah, thank you too, Nick. That's all I have.
All right. And you're waiting to hear back from Joanna?
Yep.
All right. Let us know when you hear back from her. Apparatus and equipment. And let's tie this in with the apparatus needs committee. Bob, for the agenda next month, can you just combine those? It's the same people on the same committee.
Yes.
Make it more efficient. All right, Rich and Dave.
A couple things there. We had a meeting during the course of the month where we went over striping again. We got another proposal back from we're going back and forth on striping lettering. And it's just, as they told us, it's going to take 4 or 5 times to get it all completely right. They're much closer to completely right than we actually thought. We're waiting for their reply now. So hopefully we're getting that very, very close to being finalized. We are anticipating that somewhere in the next week or so, we are going to be hearing a date for when we're going to be going down for the mid-construction conference. Both bodies are about as completed as they can be without being mounted on the chassis. Both chassis are done. The DeFrisco chassis had already been moved from Ohio to Pennsylvania, and we're just waiting for a good window of weather to move the Wineskill chassis. Last I had talked to Phil. Now that may have happened in the last few days because they've had quite a number of good days where they could have done that. I just haven't talked to Phil at all, and since Wednesday or Thursday. So it might have already happened. Other with the apparatus, the committee meeting where we discussed the equipment, the nozzles, the hose, and all that. We also discussed to point the operational with the apparatus, and I was pleasantly pleased and happy with the chiefs and the captains and anybody that was involved in the discussion, and they're very adamant about the fact that these two pieces of apparatus are going to be set up identically. I won't even say virtually identically. They're going to be set up identically where, I mean, even if they, somebody gets the bright idea that we should move the oxygen unit here and the defibrillator over there and the flares over here. Well, no, that's not going to happen unless it happens on both trucks, so that the rigs are kept and maintained identically. So they're really looking to do that and do it right. And that led to a discussion on this whole thing with nozzles and hose and apparatus and all. It led to this whole thing, and it kind of ties together with yet another report that you're going to ask me for in a little while, Dan, where we decided to do one real good thing that came out of this meeting that we had about all this is that at least quarterly, we are going to have a meeting where Dave, myself, the chiefs, and I don't know what line officers the chiefs are going to invite on, but we're going to have an operations committee meeting, so to speak, where we get together and we talk about the joint operations of both companies within the district and where we need to work on improving something, where we can put together, where we can cement a policy that's already kind of osmosed together and nail it down with a written policy. So I think this is something that's going to be real positive. So that wraps up the trucks, with the exception of one thing. Mark, I still need those reports on 426 and 427 so I can start getting quotes on and information on getting those trucks sold.
Okay, I'll get that information over.
Thank you.
Yep.
The only thing I have on it is we're starting to look at the boat idea, and Brian's going to try to get us with the Swiftwater rescue people to get their opinion on devices and types of boats and stuff like that. Most likely we'll be looking at stuff in Syracuse if that happens. If not, most of the vendors are not close by, so we're still researching it.
All right. Anything else under apparatus? Buildings and grounds. Dave and Brian's not here.
Nothing on as far as moving ahead on Wyanskill itself, but Bob's got quite a bit of information on the boiler for DFD and the HVC system.
All right.
Yeah, and I sent that memo out to the board, and I mean, I don't need to go over it. I think we're in a better place than we were a few weeks ago, and I think it was a smart move to get CSR involved. I think right now we just know we have some maintenance that has to be done to the air and dirt separator, keep the boiler system clean. We're still testing the system to see if there's a leak in the boiler loop system. I could tell you from just the brief testing we've done, there's not a significant leak. So maybe there's a small leak in ground on the radiant system that a little bit of the city water is going into the boiler system more than it should be. But that's going to take probably another couple weeks to vet that out. So I think right now we saved ourselves some money by doing this. While we did spend some money in maintenance, we keep monitoring both systems, HVAC and the boiler system.
There's one other thing I want to add to that too. After watching the emails going back and forth, I want the board to realize that Bob and the crew that maintain this system are taking a lot of time to clean the boiler and make sure they're on top of that. And I think that's something that we don't see in our monthly meetings and stuff, that there's a lot of maintenance being done that we're not paying for with the members of DeFreeseville and Bob and our own people.
Thanks, Dave.
All right. I do not have anything for district personnel. Finance and insurance. Nick, do you have anything?
No.
All right.
Dan, if I can. Sean,
Yep. Go ahead.
we do have that unassigned fund balance of $992. We have to decide where we would like to put that in a capital reserve. And I was thinking maybe we should do that, maybe split it 75% into the equipment and 25% into the building. But I mean, we could do any proportion, or we put it all in the equipment account. Board's decision.
Suggestions?
I think,
I like Sean's split. It's equitable.
You want to make a resolution, Rich?
So moved, 75% equipment, 25% buildings.
Second.
Second by Nick. Roll call.
Nick,
Aye.
Rich.
Aye.
Dave,
aye.
and Dan.
Aye.
Thank you all.
Nick, policies, procedures. Oh, wait, we need to approve the purchase of the mirror.
Dan, you guys already did that. We remember when I spoke to you, you said put it in the bills, which I did, and then you guys would discuss it under how you're going to work out any of the other
I
legal.
thought Terry mentioned something else about a release or something.
Yeah, and then Terry and I can work on that before we issue him the check, he would sign the release claim form. Is that correct, Terry?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant like we needed to do something tonight with the release.
No. What we'll do is one side of the page will be a claim form, the back side will be a release for the same amount, just so you've got documentation.
All right, I misunderstood. Thanks. Sorry, hold on a second here. I lost my spot. Policies, procedures, membership, Nick.
I have nothing.
All right. LoSAP, Nick again.
LoSAP, we had 39 people from Wineskill and 34 members from DeFreeseville make LoSAP. I'm pretty sure that the first year and second year letters were mailed out to the people that didn't make it. And I don't know if Sean has anything else on that.
Yeah, we needed the list from, it's in the memo that the president is supposed to provide us a list of who gets a first year and a second year letter. That's traditionally how we've done it in the past. So I'm just waiting on receiving that information from the presidents. I will follow up with them this week. Okay.
All right. The copier quote for business operations and technology, Bob.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring to your attention, I did speak to Dan about this, that Repeat Business Systems has informed us that the copier we have in the district, they're only going to be able to get parts for that for like another 3 to 4 months. And after that, I mean, it might be something they have on the shelf, but if it's not, they're not going to be able to repair it. So we, Sean and I have discussed this previously, and we even brought it to the board's attention that, we're probably going to have to replace that copier at some point. So I did get a quote, and, it's quotes really are not that bad. I mean, we certainly don't have to act on it, immediately. It's just, we're going to have to do something soon. So, Terry, can you just throw that up, or Dan, is this something that you want us to wait on, or what do you think your thoughts are on it?
I just pulled up the quote here on my Dropbox. Just one question I had. I know we use it to fax, and I realize you have a separate scanner. But that's almost like a basic thing now when you buy a copier to kind of have the scanner built in.
Yes.
So does this have that? And if not, you might want to get the quote with the scanner.
Now, I'm pretty sure it does scan also. I'm pretty sure that it does.
And then it sends it to your email.
Yeah.
That's typically how it works.
Currently, that's how that copier works. You would scan it and send it to your email address. So hopefully they quoted us a similar piece of equipment.
It does do that. And one of the things that I found interesting with this copier that we don't have right now, and maybe because, a newer unit, of course, the service plan is going to be a little bit less, but for $34.20, you can get a maintenance program. It includes all the toner, the parts, drums, supplies, and service calls. The only thing it excludes is the paper and the staples. And I will tell you right now, one service call on this copier right now is equivalent to about $300 and something. By the time they come here, they service it. So, I mean, it would almost seem to me that at that cost right there, if we do move forward with a new copier, we should get the service plan. Just alone the toners on these copiers, we probably change the toner 3 times a year, and the toner for this copier is probably would cost us about $150 to $175 just in toner.
But right now, the one that's sitting in here is working, correct?
It is. It's working. We just had to have a tune-up that was actually just in the bills. I think it was like $330.
Terry, could we, I mean, obviously, if this thing breaks, we don't want to sink any money into it. But we also don't want to, breaks tomorrow. We don't want to have to wait till the next commissioners meeting. Terry, can we just approve the purchase, and then when it dies and we need to buy a new one, they can just go out and do it? Or is this kind of considered like a piece of office equipment that we don't necessarily need an individual, approval for?
No, you can authorize it now within the, again, I don't have your procurement policy off the top of my head, but it's probably in the 2 quote neighborhood, isn't it, Bob?
It's on New York State
Oh,
contract.
state contract. Okay, then fine. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
It's under New York State. Yep.
Right. That was in the quote. My mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could authorize it and basically put it on the back burner if you wanted to. I mean, if that's what you're talking about.
I would suggest we do that. We approve it, and hey, maybe you'll get another 6 months out of this, but if it dies 3 weeks from now and you got to replace it, it's all approved.
Is this our copier by chance? Do we own this one?
Yeah.
Well,
How many years did we get out of this one?
Gosh, it's over 10 years.
Okay,
Yeah.
we got our money's worth. It doesn't
Oh,
know,
yeah. Yeah.
doesn't know us anything.
we have over in Wyanskill, the copies are terrible looking right now. It doesn't get used a lot. And if we're gonna move them around and try to get a little bit more life out of them, that may be good for us to use over there.
Well, we can buy the new one tonight and give you this one. And then I think if this dies over there, we should look at buying one for over there. I mean, you need a copier in a firehouse, so.
Well, yeah, and like I said, we had it worked on and I did copies the other day and they were terrible. They're faded all out, and I'm not sure if that's a toner issue or what it is, but I'm not sure how old that one is. Bob may know.
It's pretty old, and the gentleman from Repeat said you shouldn't be putting any money into that copier over at Wyanskill right now. I mean, I know, again, we probably put about $375 the last service call into that copier, and we're going to run into the same issue.
Yeah. The other thing, that copier has been here longer than me, so it's 20-year-old copier. And then we did buy Eddie an upgraded printer that has the ability to make copies, which is like a desktop type photocopier printer, which does have some capacity to it, but I don't know if like running all the run reports and all that, it would be capable of doing that. So I agree, moving the one from our offices now over to Wyanskill would be good. Plus, I still do some work over in Wyanskill, so it'd be nice to have a better copier over there to do that with.
I think it's a good idea, and then we can order the new one before this one dies.
All right, entertain a resolution to approve the purchase of a new copier, and then we'll move this one over to Wyanskill.
I'll make that.
Made by Dave, second by Rich, roll call.
Rich?
Aye.
Dave?
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Nick?
Aye.
Okay, website upgrades. Is that Bob or Sean?
Well, you asked me to put that on there, Dan, based on just the Homeland Security Safety Bulletin about websites and.
Oh, Rich sent something out.
Yeah, no, it was Bill Stewart.
Oh,
did
Bill
through
Stewart, I'm sorry.
Cassidy, Right.
I need a refresher on my.
Yeah, it's just the old technology of these website platforms. They're very vulnerable. People are hacking them
Yes,
like
that's right.
constantly, and I think we have a pretty old platform. I'm not.
That's right. Thank you for the
Oh,
reminder.
yep.
So is this something that our tech company could give any advice on?
They don't
Who do you
really.
go to for that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, currently that this was originally set up under Adam Swartz. And he still has the maintenance and all that and the IP address and all that logged into his name. I don't want to make it sound like he's kind of reluctant on giving it up, but he kind of liked being part of that. But I have access to go in and modify it, and I made the modifications and so forth, and added Nick's name, and I post the monthly meetings and all that in there. But I do think we need to upgrade it and get me trained a little bit better on how to massage the system a little more. So maybe I'll reach out to Adam and see, now that he's out of school and all that, if he wants to relinquish that, so we could take it over, get everything in our name, and then we can meet with Eclipse and see if Dave Young could help us out with that.
I just kind of think an official government website we should have.
Yeah, this was set up 15 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, I
so,
remember that.
Yeah. I know.
So I
It's
think that's
kind of
kind of critical that we
I
get that
agree.
moved over and into our own name. It was
I
very
know.
nice of Adam to help us out.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
but
I'll
Terry,
reach out to
you
him and
kind
see.
of agree with that?
Yes.
I just don't know how I can force him to do it. I might have to get Terry involved.
Well, maybe he'll do it. Maybe it won't be an issue. But
No,
can you
maybe
look
it won't
into
be.
it? And if there's, if you do have any questions, reach out to Terry.
Absolutely. Okay.
And we appreciate Adam helping us out.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yep. Very helpful.
All right, development plan review. Brian's not here, but Nick or either of the chiefs.
I have nothing.
All right, firematic operations. Dave and Rich.
I have one thing. We had the two accidents that were involved. I did read through the reports on it. They did review it and come up with a couple solutions and cautions. I noticed VIF or VFIS for winter of 2021 has some type of a program or something that look like they're doing rollover vehicles and safety stuff. I'm wondering if that would be something the district would want to sponsor for the two stations to put on as a get together. It might be something to look forward to for everybody by then.
Absolutely.
I think it's just a good reminder, something to refresh people with. And I'm not sure who does that now, but
Timmy Bowl. Timmy Bowl is their director of education.
yeah, if we can make the arrangements for that for this winter coming up or fall, I think that would be good. Just a good refresher. Something that we could put some food on for the guys and let them sit down and have that type of thing going on.
All right. Anything else before we get into public session?
Hey, Dan, I got a hold of
Joanna?
Joanna. Yep. She's got 100 vaccines and they're pretty much spoken for, but if I have a list of names, I'll give them to her. And usually they have some people that drop out or don't make it, and we can fill them in with the ones we have. It looks like I got 6 people right now to kind of have it. And they'll be looking to use it on, they'll be looking at, they're looking to do it here. It looks like it's for the seniors over in the Wineskill area. I think originally with some of them from St. Jude's and like that.
It's only 100. They should be able to get them in and out of there, no trouble.
Yeah.
Is that 100 total or 100 each day?
Well, it's 100, they got 100 vaccines broken up. It's going to be Wednesday from 8 to 2:30 and then Friday from 8 to 12:30. So probably 100 between the 2 days.
Yeah, I don't see that as a problem as long as you have people there to help them in and out.
Yeah, they're going to have staff here to take care of guiding everybody in, bringing them into one door, getting them done right out the other door.
Maybe you can reach out to Hudson Valley for any of our members to get the shots, because if you got 100 already dedicated for the seniors, I hate to see our guys bump some of the seniors out that have been waiting.
Yeah. This, I guess, a lot of these were scheduled. These were people, I guess, they were scheduled and they canceled them once or twice. So they don't know how many people are going to actually make it over this time or not.
Yeah, I know. I've just been doing it for probably better than a month trying to get it put together. So like I said, I just don't want to bump something out of it.
Yep. So I mean, if that's okay with, if it's approved by you guys, I'll let her know that the building is set. And I'll be out to make sure that they can get in and everything like that, and make sure everything gets set up and all smooth.
I think we should do our part to help get people vaccinated. So I think that's fine.
And like I said, I'll take a list of names, anybody else, any other firefighters on either side that needs it.
We
All I
want
need
to,
is their name, date of birth, and zip code.
yeah. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the building use, so you can fill out the thing, you know.
I'll fill the
after
form
Mr.
out.
Bob has it on file.
Yep.
Motion. Second it.
All right. I made it, Dave seconded it, all's in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thanks, Mark.
Okay, thank you. I'll let her know.
Yep. Bob, anything for public session?
No, nothing at all.
All right, well, thank you, everyone. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you.
Thank.
Hey, Bob, before we sign off, did you get that resolution in your email?
I did. Can you send that in a Word document to me at some point?
Will do. Okay.
And then if you want to send me just like the boilerplate on that other thing, I can fill out what I need, what information I have, and send it back to you on that claim.
Okay. All right.
And then we just want him to sign off on it before he takes the money, right?
Exactly. And one
Yeah.
side will be a claim, one side will be a release.
Yeah.
I couldn't find it when I was looking during the meeting. I may have to gin one up tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
it'd probably be the afternoon by the time I get to it.
That's fine. I'll just make sure that Sean doesn't issue the check because we'll do
Wait,
that as part of the
Well,
check.
he can issue it. I just want to have the process.
Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah, and our deductible is actually 500, not 1,000. But it's still close enough that we wouldn't submit it. Okay, great. Thanks.
Okay. Talk to you later. Bye.
Yep. See you all.